everybody, it's Safi and Marco. Dish out on the movies. We are talking about the latest Exorcist movie.
The Exorcist Believer.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever that's supposed to mean. Anyway, I don't know what you want me to say except that...
What do you mean? It's a movie review. What are you supposed to say in a movie review?
And where do I begin? Well...
Begin at the beginning.
There's two girls, and they're friends, and one... It starts out, though, before they're even born. The one girl, her name is Angela Fielding, and her father's a photographer. And her mother is pregnant, and they're in Haiti, I believe. And they are, I guess they're on some kind of, I don't know what the trip's for, it doesn't matter. But anyway, he is off to do some work, a little work, and she is tired, her feet hurt, because she's pregnant. And she's really in her later stages, so she could probably give birth any time. That's how late this. She looks really big, I'll just put it that way. Anyway, so he goes off, and she's in the hotel room, and she lies down. Anyway, the whole room starts shaking, and I'm thinking, oh, this is where the demon's going to come in somehow. And no, it's an earthquake, and everybody is feeling the shaking everywhere, all over the city. And anyway, she's in a poorly constructed building, and it starts crumbling at the top. And so the husband sees it. Anyway, goes, and she came down. She was running down the steps, but she just got caught up in it, and she's not doing well. And
Safi, let's just speed along here.
It just goes to.
Let's just speed along.
Well, okay. Well, the thing
you're not going to explain the entire movie.
No, I'm not
going to.
I'm just talking about the origin of because there was more of an origin for her anyway. Her mother died, but they took the baby, so it was a choice. And they said that, too. They kind of made like that, which is interesting because at the end there's a choice, too. But
it's not a real choice. It was a choice that...
I don't know what that was supposed to be.
It was a choice that was a lie. And it was also a choice that...
It was a demon's lie.
It wasn't necessary at all. And... But we're not to that point yet. I don't know why Safi's jumping to that point.
I just thought about that, though, with the choice. But anyway, he has to make a choice. And so the little girl lives, and she grows up. And next thing you know, she's 13, and she has a friend. They're in school. And she's thinking about her mother all the time. And so she brings a picture. And after school, they go into the woods. And you just think they're just taking a shortcut. But they're going to do some kind of ceremony with candles, and then they disappear, and nobody can find them, and everybody's thinking, oh my God, something, with sexual predators after them. And so anyway, that's where the bad stuff with the demon, or this was the bad thing, which is you have two girls, and they're both possessed. Now, how can a demon possess two people at once? That makes no sense at all. And so, are there two demons then? And
they never explain it.
Never explain.
And Safi was complaining about this when the trailer came out, and it was so funny because there was this idiot, and he commented, and he said, like, you guys are being so mean. Why don't you just wait for the movie to come out? Why are you judging the trailer? And it's like, well, why did they put out the trailer if they don't want people to react to it and say what they thought about it? Like, the trailer's
sucked.
Supposed
to get people to watch it.
The trailer looked like shit. The trailer just showed me, like, exactly what the movie was. It was a pile of shit. The trailer, like, literally went through the whole movie, too, so nothing in this movie is effective because it's all already shown in the trailers in a fast way. It's basically like like if you sped through the movie at like whatever speed, like that's the trailer. So there's really like the trailer, it this movie was exactly like I knew it was going to be. There's no surprise here.
Well, actually, my expectations for the movie were low. Because for one thing, and I didn't even remember that I have reacted that way. How can there be two demons?
Yeah, that was the main thing that Safi talked about.
Wait, how can there be one demon affecting two people? That makes no sense. And I've been talking about this witchcraft book series, mystery book series, that I read all summer. And they talk about this demon stuff, and you never have that. One demon affecting all these other people. It's just, or in all these people. That just doesn't happen.
It's not a real thing.
That's not, and so you're like, so there must be two demons. Well, I don't think so. And they don't even say what demon it is.
No.
Usually, even with I think in the first one, the original one, there was a name for it, wasn't there?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. It's been a while since I've seen it. And when I was watching this one, I was trying to remember about the little girl and how she got, I'll just say, infected with the demon. And, that was a lot more believable. I mean, it was just her. And I know it was like an interesting twist to the story to have two girls.
No, it wasn't. There's nothing interesting about that.
It's not explained, so it's not.
There's nothing interesting about that idea at all.
Well, it's just different.
Like, there's one girl who's possessed, and now there's two girls possessed. Oh, wow.
And how can
gold star.
That's the problem. How can that be? And that's what you're thinking. And then another thing that they did, and I know this was brought out in the trailer because we've been watching football, and they've been showing the trailer on football, and they talk about Ellen Burstyn coming back from the first movie. She's a lot older, she has gray hair, and it looked like she was going to be in the whole movie, like she had a really prominent role.
It looked like she would come in at the halfway point and then be there for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
And instead, she comes in for like 3 scenes, and that's it. And it's like, wow, that was a waste of time, and she was terrible, and the scenes just sucked, like the rest of this fucking piece of shit movie sucked.
Well, so to me, that was misleading.
Yeah, it was.
And I don't think that's right.
No.
And Marco said that the only reason why she did the movie is she wanted to pay for some pet project with actors, education, right?
Well, she just wanted the money, and it's like, yeah, that's what it seems like. Like, she was terrible in the movie, but the movie script was terrible all on its own, and I haven't even begun. It's because this is Safi's monologue now.
No, I don't know what else to say. Those are the things that you have to tell. I mean, the other girl, they didn't give any background on her. Basically, they told more about her after she got possessed, about her personal life. They go to church every week, and it's like a Baptist or some kind of Christian type church, and they have their minister, they're good friends with them, and that kind of thing. And so they tell more about her kind of background with that than they do, than the other one was different. The other girl was different. So, because I don't think her father, because the mother died like that, I don't think he believed anymore. He wasn't really a churchgoer, and, just subscribed to some faith constantly. He was more in a negative way. And so, anyway, so really the whole movie is basically these two girls, and as soon as, I have to say, they go missing, like I said, and they get found. They're hot. It's a rainy night, and the father said to somebody, I guess it was the neighbor, he said, she doesn't even have a raincoat, because when they went out after school, it had been a sunny day, and it was almost like a Friday the 13th moment with the rainstorm. So anyway, you gotta wonder if that's where they got it from. But so anyway, they were in the barn, to get out of the rain, and somebody who lives on the farm found them, and then they get found, and it's been 3 days. Now that's another thing. I had no idea how much time had passed. They actually thought it was just a couple of hours, like they were late, like it was dinner time or something. But anyway, so basically the whole rest of the movie is they're both they start to show the signs that they're infected with the demon, and all the parents accepting that fact, and what is going to happen with them, and how they going to get it out, and that's it. And does it get out, and how, or why, or whatever. And Ellen was in it, like I said, she's hardly in it. She's in it for a few scenes in a big way, and then all of a sudden, kaboom! She's not in it anymore until like the very end, like her bed shakes when they're doing the whatever you want to call it. I'd say exorcism, but I don't think it's really that officially. And then at the end, Marco.
Yeah, sorry guys, this has been a really terrible review. I don't know what Safi's thinking.
There's just not much to say.
We weren't even supposed to spoil it, whatever.
Okay.
Oh, do I get to review now?
Go ahead.
Oh, wow. Great. So this movie, Safi, she kind of pretends like it's really not that bad, but...
No, I don't like it. I don't know what you're saying. Why you're saying that?
But it's really, really bad. It's probably one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I think that everyone who made it should be ashamed of themselves for being involved in such a horrible movie. It was terrible from beginning to end. It was boring as hell. I spent the entire time just trying not to fall asleep. Because it was so boring and so lame. And it's just another sexless, scareless, horrorless horror movie by David Gordon Gay, who made the fucking gay Halloween movies. Awful Halloween movies that just came out. Blumhouse, they have become basically a cultural terrorist company where their whole mission is to just terrorize franchises that have had good movies in the past. And so, first they ruined the Halloween franchise, and then they ruined the Scream franchise, and now they ruined the Exorcist franchise too. So, that company, really, really bad. They're basically like Disney. They're like the horror version of Disney. Except Disney is slightly worse, somehow. And this movie, every actor in it sucked. I didn't see any good acting the entire movie. I thought, wow, these people, instead of worrying about exorcising these demons that we don't even know who they are, or how many there are, or what they are, instead of worrying about the demons, they need to worry about acting classes, because that was the big, problem in this movie. There were so many times where, it's supposed to be really scary, but I was just laughing at what was going on. Like that scene where she's in church, and the possessed girl comes in, and she's like, the blood! Like, that whole sequence was...
what she was saying.
That was hilarious. That was really bad.
In fact, most of the time when they would talk, and remember when Reagan talked in the first movie, you could understand what she was saying. At least it may not have made any sense, but you still could understand it. I could not understand any time either girl spoke in their demon language. Most of the time I couldn't understand what they were saying.
I understood. We didn't pay to watch this movie. We watched it on YouTube because we're not going to pay to watch cultural terrorism. Sorry. So, and even though I was at home, I was still falling asleep. That's how bad this was. It was really atrocious. Where do we even begin? Because, first off, you have these two main characters. Well, actually, just the main character, and that's another thing. This movie turns into an agenda movie, in my opinion. because you have the main characters, and it's this. It's actually the guy who was in that shitty Sopranos movie that was also an agenda movie, and
I didn't see that.
he was in that, and it's him and his daughter, and they're the main characters. And I don't give a flying fuck about them, honestly. They're the most least interesting people on the face of the earth, next to fucking all the other characters in 2023 movies that have been coming out. And it's about them. And then you have this white girl and her white parents, and they're kind of treated like lesser people, and they're kind of treated like they're nothings, and like the main white girl, she's basically like not even a character. Like, these are like characters out of Friday the 13th movies where they just have nothing to them at all. And
They probably got paid more to do the movie.
her parents, they're just like walking caricatures, and they're treated like these buffoons. And then meanwhile, the main guy, he's treated like the smart guy and the calm and collected guy who's just doing everything he can for his daughter that we don't even care about. Because, like, we hardly even spend any time with the main two girls at all.
No.
Like, it's just like, oh, they're there, and now they're exorcist people. Like, they're not even actual characters. They're terrible. And then by the end of the movie, it gets even more blatantly agenda-driven, where, the white parents, they do something that's terrible, and it's made to look like, oh, look, their inner racism came out, and they did this terrible thing, and then, oh, look, it backfired on them, and that was the big, like, climax of the movie, was all around how the fact that, like, these white parents who we hardly spent any time with at all, these non-characters, they made this stupid choice. And so it becomes an agenda movie at the end. And it's just like really, really weird. Like, I hate this movie. I hate the people who made it. I would never watch this movie again. Safi?
No, I wouldn't watch it either. There was just nothing to it. It was very, it's kind of like, when you eat a fortune cookie, how hard and let's say the fortune's not in it. Maybe that's what I should give it for the food review, but I mean, there's just nothing to the cookie. It doesn't have much flavor, and there's just no, and the characters, they are like one-dimensional. Because they just showed the girls a little bit in their classroom, and they were talking. They were whispering, and they were getting into trouble. And all the other kids were staring at them in a negative way, but not real bad. But that was it. They showed them hardly at all. And then at home, they didn't show Catherine, at home at all, I don't think.
No, they didn't.
At the beginning. And then the other girl, she's talking about her mother, and there wasn't much to that either. And she wanted to go study with, I guess it was her, with Catherine, I don't know.
And the priest character, or the multiple priest characters, like, they had no character at all.
And that is so contrary to the first movie.
Yeah. It's pretty bad.
Because
pretty embarrassing.
They really went into their personal lives, and it was just so fun. They went to wherever they go to find out about an exorcism where there's multiple priests there, and they have the one, I guess, for the one woman who knows him, the parish priest, her parish priest, it was a nurse and the neighbor to the African American guy and his daughter, and but he really they had hardly any presence, and like we said, when they were doing their little ceremony, he was told them he was not even allowed to be there, that they thought it was better solved by mental health experts or something, and he was not allowed to do anything. But he was so guilt-ridden about it that he sat in his car and prayed.
And now, there's a lot of other stuff to talk about, and one of the things is something that I correctly predicted from the trailer rant that I did, which, everything I said in the trailer all came true. Nothing I said in the trailer was incorrect. And I just want to make that very clear, because I had a sliver of maybe I'll be wrong and this will be a good movie and I'll be like, yeah.
That would have been nice.
No, of course not. Not with the people who made the Halloween trilogy that was terrible. Ugh. Awful. God. One of the worst horror movie trilogies ever.
That was like nails on a chalkboard.
One of the things that I said was that they're not going to do anything that's as shocking as in the original Exorcist movie. In the original Exorcist movie, the main girl, besides her spider walk thing that was really, really creepy, tons of other stuff, but one of the things that she did, besides the vomiting too, which they didn't have any vomiting in this movie, any of the pea soup.
It was blood on the ceiling or something, but it was, I didn't get that. I didn't know what that was supposed to be. That didn't drip down, remember, near the end?
I don't remember.
Well, it shot up out of her mouth up to the ceiling.
Well.
And just stayed there.
It wasn't the pea soup.
No
pea
soup.
Which was a shame. So, there was also the part where, if you remember, the girl rapes herself with the crucifix, and then her mom comes in and sees it, and there's blood everywhere, and it's just a really gross, scary and really disgusting scene. And then she attacks her mom too. That was really, 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 really shocking. They didn't do anything like that in this movie because they're too pussy. They won't do anything like that. They didn't have any sex or nudity in the Halloween movies, so they're not going to have anything shocking in this movie that's like in the original movie. Instead, they did this one little thing, and they tried to make it seem like this was shocking, and this was somehow, equivalent to that sequence. And let's see if Safi knows what it is. What was it?
Gouging out her eyes?
No. There was a part where the girls come back and they get rape tested. They get these tests, and they kind of show it a little bit okay, you're gonna feel a little bit of discomfort after we put the jelly on. Okay, we're just gonna take a few swabs to see if a man touched you in your no-no place. And that was these filmmakers, these pussy-ass cultural terrorists. That was their version of the girl from the original raping herself with a crucifix. They honestly think that girls getting a rape test kit at the hospital is equivalent to a girl raping herself with a crucifix. That is just, insane. It just shows how these filmmakers, these terrorists, how they have no business touching The Exorcist or any other horror movie in existence. Right, Safi?
No, it's just... No, I really know. They shouldn't, because it was just... it's kind of like a shadow. It's just there's nothing to the movie, and you can't just replicate the first one scene to scene, or because you're not doing a sequel. You're just doing a repeat of the first one, and they would never be able to do that. It wouldn't work, and it wouldn't be right, and it's just, and so now they try to make a sequel, and they just should have left it alone.
Yeah. And instead they're going to be making a trilogy.
Well, they better do some research about demons and demon possession and character.
I think they need to research the original movie first, because the original movie was not like this movie at all, in any way, shape, or form. So.
No, not at all. And there's just the flaws that are in there are so large that it's like they just zap the energy out of it.
Yeah.
And Marco said that, they do test audiences for all of these movies, I believe, or focus groups or whatever. And he said that wherever they tested this, it was the worst. They got the worst reaction of any movie they've ever done at this place or something. And it's just, people, if you can't do what you set out to do, and he said that they spent over $400 million just to, now this isn't to make the movie, but just to get the rights to do the movie. And if you're going to spend that much money, you better have your SHIT together.
Well, you better have an idea. And these people didn't have any ideas at all.
Well, they have one, but it didn't make sense because they didn't flesh it out. They just had part of an idea.
No, they didn't have any ideas.
And it was just, and it's not going to mean anything. Like, it sounds like no idea because it's not finished.
And the way that these girls get possessed doesn't make any sense either.
No, it doesn't.
That's
what was so weird.
That didn't make any sense either. And it's funny because, what they actually probably should have done is they should have made the twist in this movie, at least the first movie in the trilogy, that maybe there isn't any demon at all, and they were taken victim by someone in the woods or people in the woods. And that would have actually made the movie different because, you wouldn't have expected that at the end, and it would have, changed things up, and, they could have done a lot of stuff with that. And then maybe in the sequel, you could have brought in the demon, and you could have said, okay, now they're actually possessed by demons or something. I don't know. But there was nothing. There was no sort of creativity or originality in this movie. It was just like watching people shamelessly destroy the Exorcist, like these terrorists. It was like watching them just shamelessly take an RPG and blow up the Exorcist and say, look guys, we're making our new Exorcist movie on top of this. And then you see this, shitty statue that, is the new Exorcist movie. And, what else to say before we get to the... Well, the mom from the original is hardly in it, and I really thought it was funny how they basically just used the mom to falsely advertise the movie and get people to go see it. And treat it like it's Halloween. And, this isn't like Halloween 2018 where, they can hide behind Jamie Lee Curtis's awful acting self. And, no. This woman's hardly in this fucking movie. She's not a main character in the movie. And then she comes in and she gets blinded by, I think, was it the white daughter?
Yeah.
Yeah, the white daughter. And so, see, once again... This movie was an agenda-driven movie. That was another element about it that just made it even worse.
Well, that wasn't one thing, too. The African-American daughter was in the hospital.
Yeah.
And she was actually, restrained to a bed, I guess. Yeah. And then the other girl was at home, making everybody's life miserable.
Yeah. And that was bad, too. And
Ellen Burstyn went to see both of them. And when she went to see the girl at home...
Okay, Safi, take a drink. And
it was a bad thing.
Don't talk like that. That's not good entertainment. And neither was this movie. Because this movie felt like it was 4 hours. it was only like an hour and 50 minutes or something, but it really felt like 4 hours. Like, I was like, is this what watching Oppenheimer would be like?
No.
Because I haven't seen Oppenheimer yet, but it felt like, is that what this would be like?
No.
Or like watching that Justice League movie, Zack Snyder's shitty Justice League 4-hour movie.
I don't know.
And should we get to the exorcism part?
Yeah, it's confusing.
Well, it's funny because in the exorcism part, it was so poorly done that I was just like wondering, like, really? Like, this was their ideas that they came up with? They thought that this would make a good movie? Like, nothing really interesting happened at all during this exorcism sequence. And at first, they didn't really have someone to help them, and they had to do it themselves along with the boring old guy who's at their local church. And
well, they also had I'm not sure what she was supposed to be.
I'm not sure either. She wasn't a character.
She was a Haitian woman or African American woman, but she was I can't remember in the witch series what they call them, but she was some kind of person who could help with this kind of thing, like I don't even know what to call her. I don't know what the official name, but anyway, she's like the priest, but in a different, it would be a different kind of religion. And then, of course, the priest was supposed to be there, but like we said, he wasn't allowed to participate. And then they had a nurse.
And she was terrible, too.
She was really not good.
She was really uncharismatic.
The priest gave her a special Bible book that and a special cross that would help her with the exorcism that he would have used, I guess, if he would have participated. And her story was that she had wanted to be a nun. She got pregnant, could not do it because she broke her vows. And when you become a nun, if you keep your vows and everything and you go through the whole process, you get a certain name and it reflects your commitment and change to be married to God, basically. And so she'd gotten her name, but then she broke her vows, but anyway, they went all through that, and how the African-American girl knew this, and she'd never told anybody ever, so she knew that she was possessed. But anyway, she was allowed to take the priest role in this, because she had once wanted to be a nun.
Yeah, so she's kind of like one of the final girls. But right, Safi?
I don't know about
See?
that. But they were
See?
supposed to work, for it to work, they said they had to have everybody involved. So that meant both sets of parents, and the priest.
Now here's the thing, because I was trying to go through this. Here's the thing. I already said all that. Here's the thing. This was how bad it was. At a certain point, one of the people in the group says, well, let's try whatever works. Let's try something new and something different. It's just like, oh, let's just try something else and different that hasn't been done yet. And it's like, that's what this movie was. Like, that's what the people who made this movie, it was like watching them make this movie where it's like, oh, let's just try this. Let's just try that. And it's like, that was this exorcism. Like, it wasn't interesting or entertaining at all.
No, and not much happened, really.
And then there's this hilariously weird part where the guy who wasn't supposed to participate, he just shows back up like a over dramatic way, like where he just shows up and he's like, oh, actually, I'm gonna participate too. Ooh.
You're talking about the priest, right?
Yes, Safi.
Okay.
Who else would I be talking about?
I don't know.
I
thought maybe I missed something.
Remember, he shows up in the door and he's like, oh yeah, actually, I'm gonna help you guys. Ooh.
And he gets a big surprise.
Ooh.
This was actually the surprise of the movie. They took something from the first movie that Reagan had done, and which was really cool, and that really was scary. I think that when my dad my dad took me and my roommate to the movie. It was in downtown Kansas City. It was actually in the plaza. This is when he used to watch scary movies all the time, and this is the scene I think that freaked him out the most. You know how she turns her head all the way around and laughs, and she's got that voice.
Oh yeah, they didn't even do that this movie.
No, they did it to the priest, and he killed him.
Yeah, somehow the demon also possesses the priest and then kills the priest. So the demon's not only possessing the two girls, it also possesses the priest at the same time. So it's like a demon that has like spider legs, and each spider leg can possess a different person or something.
I didn't even think. I didn't think he possessed him. I just thought.
Well, he had to. He made his head snap around.
I didn't even think of that. I just
He
thought
did.
He could just
No.
had the power to make his neck turn
No.
uncontrollably.
No.
Uncontrollably.
No.
But what's funny though, in the very first movie, she does that. Nothing happens to her,
No.
and she does it all the way around.
Yeah, she goes in a full circle.
And he does it, and he's dead
Yeah.
right away. He snapped his neck.
That was really bad. Like everything else in this movie. And now, spoiler alert, because we've already spoiled it, basically everything, but I don't really care.
I don't know.
Well, I already said it was an agenda thing.
There's just not much to the movie.
And because I'm already going to have to label this movie a spoiler review, or this video, I mean. So, like, I guess there's not really a point in not saying it.
Okay, go ahead.
The demons tell the parents that they have to make a choice of which daughter lives and which daughter dies, which is funny because...
Which is a terrible thing.
Why would you believe a demon, and why would you let a demon dictate, like... That's not what an exorcism is. An exorcism isn't a negotiation between the people and the possessed person. Like, an exorcism is a forceful removal of an entity. It's not saying like, okay, demon, will you let me remove you? Oh, thank you. Oh, I just have to make a choice? Oh, okay. Oh, I don't know which one. Oh, okay, you have to make your choice now. Okay, I'm thinking. Like, that's not what an exorcism is. But that's what they turned it into in this movie.
Yeah, and that was wrong. And they all said no.
Yeah, the black dad refuses to do it. It's the white parent that does it. And so that's where the agenda comes in.
But it's the father, and the father's so weak. Everybody else is in there, in the room. And they're putting up with it. They're trying to do anything they can to make this work. But the father is so weak that he has to go stand out there. It's like he can't take it. And then all of a sudden, and it was really weird, it wasn't even real. It was like, it wasn't even genuine. He comes in there and goes, Catherine!
I choose my daughter! And then it turns out to be a trick. And so then the black daughter gets to live and the white daughter's the one that dies. And I was like,
terrible. They felt terrible.
And I was like, that is a total agenda thing. Totally. That is like, okay, this movie was already bad, but you just made it like 1,000 times worse with that agenda stuff at the end.
And they did show the daughter, I don't know.
They showed her in this underworld thing.
Yeah.
Like this underworld reality, and then they showed her drowning and these people pulling her down into the water, the monsters or something. So, I don't know what that was or anything, but I hated it. I hated it so much. It was so bad.
It was kind of, and it's weird because it was kind of like that movie Ghost. Is that Ghost with
Ghost?
Demi Moore and...
yes, Safi.
Yeah, well, anyway, you know how when somebody was bad and the bad...
I don't remember. I've only seen it once because you forced me to watch it as a kid.
It's a good movie, I think. Better than this.
Well, it
1,000 times better. At least it had a story, but they get the bad people. You have all these bad, they're all in black, like shadowy figures, and they pull the bad person. This somebody is a real, and then the girl wasn't a bad girl.
No, she was a good girl, even though she didn't have a character, unfortunately.
And it's like, it was kind of the same thing, only she was already underground, and they pulled her under the water.
Yeah.
These people just pull, in this ghost movie, they just pull them to the ground, and they sink below the earth.
So it was and the whole message, the whole, like, theme of this movie was how all these different religions have to come together to defeat evil.
Right.
You know, you have the main character, he's an atheist because of what happened to his wife. And then you have the voodoo woman, you have the Christian people, and you have the Catholic one. And I don't know if, like, the Christian people were also Catholic or if they were Baptist or what. We don't know. So, they all are supposed to come together at the end. But the message is totally undermined because... Number one, they don't come together because they had to have the agenda stuff. And number two, they don't really defeat evil. They just negotiate with evil. And then evil, the demon, like, just voluntarily leaves the black girl's body because they made the choice. Like, that's fucking retarded. Like, a demon or entity would never do that, ever. 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 Like, can you name me, like, any other exorcism movie where it ends with the demon being like, okay, I'll be back, or okay, bye, see you later, BRB.
They have to defeat the demon.
TTYL.
They have to almost, like, defeat the demon and entrap it.
But they don't defeat the demon.
No,
the demon, he just leaves because they did what he said what they wanted.
And it doesn't work that way.
And he was a liar as well.
And they lie.
So
they brag about it. That's their thing.
And I will say that if you want to see the story of this movie done better, Dracula Has Risen from the Grave is a very similar movie in that it is all about how, like, the main guy in that movie, he was an atheist. And then at the end of the movie, he had to regain his faith to defeat the evil and then work with the other priest as well. And his daughter, his daughter was taken by Dracula. But that's what that movie was. And it was actually effective because at the end, they defeat Dracula. And Dracula gets fucking impaled and he gets fucked up. And they get the daughter back. The daughter doesn't die, or they don't negotiate with them and say, okay, you give me the daughter if we'll do this or that. Like, no, they defeat Dracula, and Dracula Has Risen from the Grave. And that is a much better movie, right, Safi?
Yeah, it is a good movie.
Yeah.
Enjoyable.
It's too bad we can't review that. Because
we could do all the Dracula movies and review them.
Not yet, Safi. We already made the schedule.
Oh, I know. It'd have to be another year. Oh, anyway.
So, anything else?
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
The girl, Linda Blair, shows up at the very end, and it's like, oh, wow, yeah.
To hold her mother's hand. Well, again, the demon had told the mother that I didn't hear it because, like I said, I couldn't understand them for the most part.
No.
And
terribly done.
Like it was. I don't know what it. I don't know why they couldn't make it clear. They were able to do it in the first movie, and that was 1,000,000 years ago.
Well, they sucked out all the color too. Like the coloring in this movie looked horrible, right?
I guess.
Yeah.
It rained like Friday the 13th. I thought we were in a Friday the 13th movie there for a moment with all the bad acting and the rainstorm.
The bad acting.
Anyway, what was I going to say? Ugh, damn it.
They said that she was dead.
Well, yeah, the demon. Now remember, the demon's a liar. Demons lie.
Yeah,
You can't believe it.
The people in this movie, they all believe demons. They don't believe in God. They believe in demons. So
Yeah.
that's pretty bad. That's not a good Exorcist movie. I'm sorry.
They told the mother, but she didn't completely believe them, at least. And they told her Reagan was dead.
Yeah.
Because, see, Reagan doesn't live there anymore. She doesn't know where Reagan is. That's what she says. And I guess she says she just hopes she's okay. And but then when she fights with that girl at her house and gets her eyes gouged out or whatever happened exactly, she tells them after it's over that they told her that the demon told her Reagan was dead. So, but then she shows up at the end for
a stupid cameo.
60 seconds?
To tease the sequel.
30 seconds?
Oh, look, in the sequel, the person comes back. Yay!
And
We don't really care about a story. We just care about seeing the person from the other movie. Yay!
And I wasn't sure, she's a lot older now, and sometimes you just can't tell. But she has a very distinctive voice.
And that's another reason to really despise this movie, is they brought back Linda Blair. Now, if you guys don't know, Linda Blair is a bitch, and she is terrible to fans. She has a horrible reputation at conventions, and a lot of conventions won't even invite her because she's such a terrible guest. And so I really don't like the fact that this movie celebrated her. I think if you wanted to bring back the character, recast her with a woman who doesn't treat the fans like shit. Safi?
Well, that's what I've been told, and it's hard to believe that they brought her back, too.
Yeah.
I guess they had to make it come full circle with her, and I'm surprised they got her to come back, even if it was for 2 seconds.
She probably said, like, okay, I'll come back if you donate to my dog charity. Because that's another big thing with her at these conventions. She has some sort of a dog charity thing, and
well, that's a good thing.
She's a fucking piece of shit.
Doesn't do anything for the movie, but I think that's nice for a dog charity.
Well, I think it'd be nice if this movie was taken and ripped up into pieces, and then someone had diarrhea on it, and then we forget about it. It should be like in Diary of a Wimpy Kid, where the piece of cheese is left in the middle of the parking lot, and then they just leave it there, and they're like, "Don't touch that cheese. If you touch that cheese, you're gonna get the cheese touch." It's like, that's what this movie should be. People should just leave it in the parking lot and not touch it, and just be like, stay away from that cheese. That movie. Remember that, Safi? The cheese touch?
No, I don't.
Damn you, Safi.
That was a long time ago.
No, it wasn't. It was 2010 or 11.
It's a long time ago.
No, it's not.
Really? It's 2023.
So what?
A long time ago.
I've seen that movie a million times.
Well, I've only seen it once. So.
And Diary of a fucking Wimpy Kid destroys this movie, by the way. Like, that's pretty bad. Like, Diary of a Wimpy Kid is better than the new Exorcist movie? Oh.
It's like they thought, oh wow, this is going to be cool when we spend all this money.
Yes, just spend money. That's the key. Let's just spend money.
But they don't. You have to have a story.
Yeah, how about let's write a story? Let's write a script. Have you ever heard of writing a script before? It's when you have a vision for a story and you write it on paper. It's not The Exorcist Believer, where it's like the story is non-existent.
And you've got to explain some of the stuff, like how can a demon possess two people at once? That's impossible. It doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't.
And then when the priest feels so guilty that he has to come back in and try to help save the situation, that he gets possessed too, just enough to kill him, while the demon is still possessing the other two. It makes no sense. I mean, you've got to... Why is it so hard to make a decent story?
Well, it's not hard. It's just these people don't care.
But it was a really good first movie a long time ago. And people were really... I mean, that was scary. And, I mean, you know, when you see it first off, you know, she does all these things. She rises to the ceiling. Her head spins around. She used to be an okay little, sweet little girl, and she's all uglified, and, you know, her face has all got all these little scratch marks on it.
She pees all over the floor.
And they're just all kind of, and then she pukes out green puke all
Pea
over.
soup.
All over everybody. It's just gross, and it's just scary, and
it's fantastic.
And when you first see it, it just freaks you out.
It's fun
to see some of these things.
It's creative. It's inventive.
It's one person that's possessed.
What was this movie? The opposite of that.
It was a very bare reflection of the other. I mean, just completely... It's like trying to look in the mirror and see a reflection and see nothing.
Yeah, I would say this is worse than any of the Halloween movies, even though those are all abysmal garbage.
Those are so loud and obnoxious.
The David Gordon Gay ones, because at least they weren't boring. This movie was boring.
Yeah, so anyway, I think we should do our food review.
Go ahead.
Well, at first I thought of one thing, but I think it gives it too much...
credit?
Yeah, so I'm just going to give it a tortilla.
Ew.
A plain old tortilla. And you don't even really want to eat it because there's nothing on it. And you know, when you eat tortillas, you're supposed to kind of slightly heat them up so you can fold them. And it's not even heated up. It's just straight out of the package. And that just wouldn't be any good. Because they had no good story. It didn't develop the characters. It didn't have a good script where they had good lines. The characters are very one-dimensional. They don't explain what really happens to them.
No.
And you know, when you have these girls and this has happened to them, they can't. And let's say they were questioning them, and they couldn't answer the questions. You know, like, where'd you go? What happened? And because for one thing, they don't even think, the girls don't even think it's been 3 days. They thought it was a few hours. They thought they were just, like, late for dinner or something.
They could have really gone with, like, a true crime angle where, like, maybe there was a witch in the forest or something, and the witch kidnapped them, or maybe, like, a cult kidnapped them or something. Like, they could have done a lot of different things instead of just doing what they did.
And they need to understand about demons. So, I mean, they don't get the research straight. I mean, there's just so many things that would make a good movie, and I think it's wrong. I think it's, like, almost obscene that they would spend that much money for the rights to make this movie and then do such a poor job.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
Well, I would also say, I said all the actors in this movie are terrible, but I will say the two teenage girls, they were okay. They didn't really get much of a chance, and so I'm not saying that they are that terrible. All the adult actors are terrible, though, for sure. And so, it's too bad, actually, because both the teenage girls, they probably deserved better, like, in terms of not having anything to do, basically, the whole movie, because they're possessed, like, 20 minutes into the movie, like, they're not themselves anymore, so, you know, it's too bad that they didn't get, like, more of a chance to act in the movie. But I would give the movie, there was this one time we went to Tim Hortons. We don't go to Tim Hortons anymore because they're a failure, you know.
They made us sick.
They made us sick, and they don't have their soup anymore.
Which we depend on having that soup, some kind of soup, in the winter.
Yeah, we love that. We love their soup, the broccoli cheddar soup. we used to eat it every week on Saturdays, which today's a Saturday, and with like a turkey sandwich and a drink. And it was perfect, but then they took that away. Well, there was this one time we went there, and they said, hello, this is Tim Hortons. Oh, we don't we don't have broccoli cheddar soup, but we have cream of broccoli soup. And so we got it. And I'm not kidding you guys when I say this was not even like a soup. It was like water with broccoli in it. Like, I don't know what that was. I think it was some sort of like a last minute thing that like the shitty manager at this Ohio Tim Hortons that he did. I was like, what is this? It's tasteless, it's bland, it's awful. It doesn't even taste like anything. It's just water with broccoli in it. Cream of broccoli. Like, that's
not even cream of broccoli.
That was bad. We should have complained to Tim Hortons, the company, because I bet they weren't even supposed to do that.
They probably weren't.
They're supposed to have broccoli cheddar. I mean, how do you have the broccoli for broccoli cheddar soup, but you don't have the cheddar? You don't have anything else. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
And then we had a problem too. We had a problem getting. We coughed. Somebody was sick. They were working, and they coughed all over our food.
Yeah.
And we were sick for months. And then another thing was they started. We go somewhere and order something, and they run out of ingredients. Mm-hmm. And that happened on more than one occasion.
Yeah, there was the afternoon after we saw It Chapter 2 in theaters. We went to the Tim Hortons right next to the theater, and they had the soup, but they couldn't make the sandwich because they were out of bacon. And it would take them 30 minutes to go to the store and get bacon.
And somebody had gone to the store.
So we went to... You done, Safi?
Yeah.
So we went to the other Tim Hortons, and they had the turkey sandwich, but they didn't have the soup.
We were like,
so...
Yeah, I'm not going to hear it.
Yeah, I don't know if you could hear that or not, people, but we had to go to 2 different Tim Hortons to get the one meal. So that was pretty bad. Not as bad as the cream of broccoli soup, which was
gross.
That was a lie. I don't know what that was. What was that, Safi?
Broccoli water soup.
That reminded me of like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, when Charlie's like, I'm fed up with cabbage water. Like that's what that's what it was. It was like Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
Willy Wonka soup.
Okay,
Well, Safi?
people, I hope you liked this video and give it a thumbs up if you did, and become one of our subscribers, and tell me if you saw the original Exorcist. Tell us if you see this one, and what did you think, and what do you think about a company who buys a franchise for over $400 million and then does a crappy job? And that doesn't count the money that they spent to make the movie. That was just to buy the franchise.
Yeah.
So goodbye, everybody.
Bye.